Hey guys, RanterInShades here, exercise my first Remember Rights vlog style, here with episode 8 of Shades Shirt Collection. We're gonna pick up where we left off, and we were still in the middle of this big May series that I had going on, and this is the final one from that series. It didn't take place in New York, this was actually back in Massachusetts, and this would be Metallica. Yes, after 10 years of being a fan of Metallica, finally I jumped on the opportunity to see them play live. They're another band that, like, never tours, so you gotta fucking jump on the opportunity if you ever get the chance. And even though the ticket that I got was very, very expensive, no regrets. You know, I had been waiting for a while to see what their live set was like, because I said for years, even in the What's Wrong With that I did about Metallica, when I was talking about, you know, the claims of them sucking live, I always said, I'm gonna have to see it to believe it. And now I finally saw it. And I'll give you my thoughts on that after I talk about the shirt here. So, it depicts Hardwired to Self-Destruct, their newest album. I like the colors here. I like how it's up against a black background, which I think looks much better than I imagined it would have on a white background or any other color background. I like the color scheme that they got here. And apologize also if, you know, it's bright in some areas. I forgot to mention, I had the flash on when I was taking these pictures on my phone because I didn't want my shadow to show up. If there's some very bright spots, that's why. And on the back we got tour dates, where the design sorta continues, where we see another charming face right back there, along with the word Worldwide, which is the name of the tour, of course. I saw them play at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Mass, which Gillette Stadium is where the Patriots play at, as well as the New England Revolution, but who gives a fuck about the New England Revolution? No one cares about fucking American soccer. Opening for Metallica on this tour, they had Volbeat. And Volbeat did pretty well. You know, I'm not a huge fan of Volbeat, but they put on a pretty nice set. They had Avenged Sevenfold playing other dates, but they were not playing this one, which disappointed me greatly, because I would have loved seeing Avenged Sevenfold open for Metallica. It would have been just legendary, but it was still a good show nonetheless. Now I will give you my thoughts, since I know that's what you're probably asking. How were Metallica? Did they suck? Were they actually good? You know, how was it? I will answer that. The songs were kinda sped up a little bit, and I personally think that was kind of a band decision. I don't think it's, like, the fault of Lars, like, not knowing how to fucking keep good time. Maybe it's just me thinking everybody's too hard on Lars, but I think it was something that everybody in the band, you know, agreed on. We're gonna play these songs faster so we can be able to play more songs, potentially. And as far as Lars goes, there were some moments where he did play some sloppy fills, especially during For Whom the Bell Tolls, when, like, every bar he was, like, playing a fill, and it's like, okay, dude, you don't need to do this so much, just do it when the time is right, like every 4 bars or 8 bars, not every single fucking bar. Like, that just gets hard to take in. Other than that, I don't think Lars was horrible. They didn't sound like shit live and whatnot. The only major gripe that I had is the lack of diversity in the set. Obviously, they're gonna be playing mostly Hardwired songs, since this is the album that they're touring for, but they really did not play as much classic material as I would have liked to see them play. Like, the only tracks from Kill 'Em All that they played were Motor Breath and Seek and Destroy, as well as when Rob played a little bit of Anesthesia Pulling Teeth during a little bass solo, where he also played a nice little tribute to Chris Cornell, who had died just the day before, rest in peace. The only songs from Ride the Lightning that they did were Fight Fire with Fire, For Whom the Bell Tolls, like I said, and Fade to Black. The only Master of Puppets song they did was the always legendary title track, and the only And Justice for All song that they did was One. The only one that they played from that album was One. And any other song that they did was either from the Black Album or from Hardwired, with the exception of they also played Fuel, which was kind of weird but also kind of fun. But they really didn't play a whole lot of classic 80s material, which I was kind of disappointed in, but the ones that they did play, I was glad they got played. I was glad that they played Fade to Black, because that's my favorite song by Metallica. I was glad that they played Master of Puppets, because, you know, that song's one of the most legendary written metal songs of all time, and I was glad to see that they were playing that. But I just wish that they incorporated more into the set. That's really it. But other than that, I had a lot of fun at this show. And I also got to meet a fan of mine for the first time at a show who actually lives very close to me. Space Ferrari 248 is his channel name, and it was cool chatting with him and talking with him and whatnot, and then rushing back over by the time Metallica started playing. It was cool meeting him there, so shout out to you, dude. Next concert I went to wasn't until mid-June. This was sort of a ticket I got at the last minute. It's Rise Against over here. They were double billing with the Deftones. Pretty interesting thing you got going. You got a 90s alternative metal band and a melodic hardcore band from the 2000s. But it was a cool show, and they had Thrice opening for them. Okay, you got a emo post-hardcore band from like the early mid-2000s also on this bill, so pretty nice lineup if I do say so myself. I was mainly going for Rise Against, since they're kind of one of my favorite bands. Might not agree with them politically, and Tim McIlrath did unfortunately go on a little bit of a political tangent, so it elicited an eye roll from me, which was unfortunate. But other than that, they put on a really good show. There was a lot of energy. I wish they played Architects, which is my favorite song of Rise Against. I wish they played that, but other than that, it was a lot of fun, even though it was raining. The shirt here depicts their newest album, Wolves, which at the time of seeing the show, it had like just come out, and I was hearing some good things about it. I haven't listened to the album yet, but I'm expecting to enjoy it because, you know, I've enjoyed Rise Against's work in the past, so I doubt this is going to be much different, so I'll probably like it. I like the colors here, I like the way the logo looks, the font and whatnot. It's a cool shirt. And it has tour dates on the back. Summer Tour 2017, where the colors sort of continue. Nice design you got going there. Next was a shirt I got at a show that I saw 2 days later, and this would be Chon. One of my favorite bands. They're really in like the top tier of like my favorite bands. They're such a great band. I love what they do. Didn't like their newest album as much as Grow. Homie sort of fell a little bit short of my expectations, especially with, you know, the EDM-esque tracks. That sort of brought it down for me. There are still some good songs on there, but I just didn't like it as much as their previous album. This is another show I got VIP tickets for, because I could, and I decided why not. I didn't get the level up for the VIP ticket, so I didn't get as much stuff, and for that reason, that's why I didn't like this VIP package as much as the one with Polyphia. But it was still cool getting my picture taken with Chon, even though I look really fucking high in the picture. And I also got a tour poster, which is back over here, as well as a copy of their newest album, Homie, on vinyl. I was not expecting to get a vinyl copy here, which I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with this other than just have it sit here, because I do not have a record player. I can't see myself getting one anytime soon, because at that point I'm just going to be wanting to get a whole bunch more on vinyl, and I don't think they come cheap. That's why I don't collect vinyl, because I have nothing to play them on, but nonetheless, I have this on vinyl right now. And we got a pretty nice design here. I like the design of this a lot better than my other Chon shirt, even though I like the colors of that one a lot better, and the design here better, where we see a palm tree on the water and the sunshine, and, you know, their, you know, classic handwritten-y logo. And there are tour dates on the back of this one. It's the Homie Tour. This was a cool show. Chon were great. I love them so much. Opening for them on the tour, if you saw the tour poster here, they had Terra Melos, Covet again, and Little Tybee. Terra Melos, I didn't really like as much. I didn't think they sounded all that great. It wasn't horrible, but it just didn't interest me as much. Covet, of course, it's my second time seeing them after seeing them open on the Polyphia tour. So, of course, I loved them. They were great. And Little Tybee, I knew very little about them prior to this, but man, are they interesting. They are such a weird band, but they're so interesting, especially their guitarist, Josh Martin. Basically, you know, taking a Rob Scallon approach to guitar. Finger-picking, tapping on an 8-string guitar. They were very good and very interesting. They had like a violin player, an acoustic guitar player, a 5-string bassist, and a keyboardist, and a drummer. They were so weird, but so goddamn cool. So yeah, this show was a lot of fun, and I also got a selfie with Mario Camarena, which is my best selfie ever. He has such a recognizable face, and of course, you know, being that he's from one of my favorite bands, of course, this selfie is gonna be one that sticks with me a whole lot. Caught him behind Chon's merch table. He was just hanging out there. I asked if I could take a selfie there, and he was really cool about it. So yeah, this was really fun. Next, we got another band that I'm sure most people watching this have not heard of. They're a local band from in the Westchester scene up in New York, and when I saw that they were coming over here to Mass, I was like, okay, this is one of the best bands from the Westchester scene. I gotta see them. And this band would be Valence, a band that I've promoted on this channel maybe once or twice, I think. I also talked about them when I was on Cover Killer Nation's channel for his Heavy Metal Holidays finale video. I figured, you know, if I'm gonna be on his channel and I'm gonna be shouting out a band, I might as well shout out a Westchester band. And since this is like the only metal band that I know from that scene, I figured might as well do them. I mean, I cannot recommend them enough if you're a fan of progressive metal or you're a fan of instrumental bands. If you're a fan of either of those things, Valence is right up your alley. If you like Scale the Summit, Valence is a band that you must check out. I implore you. Do it! Do it! So, went to the show, I met up with the band. They were really, really, really nice. Like, my god, I can't get over how nice they were. As well as the other band that they were playing with, which I'll talk about in a little bit, Geff. But let me get to the shirt here. It's gray, it has some nice colors to it. It depicts the artwork from their full length, which is called Sleepwalker. It came out in 2012, and I really like the look of this shirt. I was glad to have picked it up so it can be a part of my collection. And of course, they put on a very good show. I was very entertained. I had a lot of fun, stayed out really late. Like I said, Valence and Geff, they were so nice. And I'm also gonna shout Geff out here. They're another band I want you guys to check out. Not only are they also an instrumental progressive metal band, but they make their sound using Chapman sticks. They're made up of 2 Chapman stick players and a drummer. They are so interesting, gimmicky maybe, but still really cool. And weirdly enough, one of the Chapman stick players, Josh, he was a founding member of another Westchester band, And the Traveler, that I talked about in one of the previous shirt collection videos. And he was also a former student from the school that I went to in New York, along with the vocalist slash guitarist in And the Traveler. So I talked with him a good bit about Westchester and about that whole scene. That was really cool. He had a good bit to say there. I talked a lot about, you know, how I miss the scene over there, how there's such great bands over there, Valence being one of them. Again, this was such a very fun show. The venue was small, the turnout was kind of small, but it was a fun show nonetheless. Next, we got some Hot Topic pickups slash Spencer's pickups that I got when I was at the mall recently. Also, when I was at the mall, I got... Yep. I am officially a degenerate now. And this isn't the only one. I also got a blue one over here that makes a much cooler noise. But I also got some shirts over there, and the first one I got over here is Queen. Queen is one of those bands where, if I'm going to be objective about who I think are the greatest bands that ever existed, Queen is a band that I will always think of and feel like I can be objective when saying they're one of the greatest bands ever. Great musicians. Freddie Mercury, legendary vocalist, and songwriter. Brian May is a great guitarist, and rounding it out with John Deacon and Roger Taylor. They can write some great songs. They've put out great albums. Queen is just a great band, and one of my favorite 70s rock bands. This is also a really comfy, stretchy shirt with a pretty cool design on it. I guess this is our classic logo. And we also see a bunch of mythical creatures over here, like a griffin up top, lions, as well as some angels. And the crown in the middle, I think that's supposed to be a king's crown. I always assumed it's because the queen doesn't want to ruin her hair with a big fucking crown, so, you know, she gets a lighter one that's lighter in weight and doesn't really do too much damage to her hair, while the king just gets this giant fucking crown, because as men we like everything big, right? But nonetheless, there is a crown in the middle there. So yeah, cool shirt, awesome band, cool. Next shirt I picked up over there is Soundgarden here. Obviously, with, you know, Chris Cornell having passed away, again, rest in peace. Obviously, they're gonna merchandise the fuck out of Soundgarden. I imagine Audioslave as well, but especially Soundgarden. So I guess it's kind of scummy that now that somebody dies, you're gonna fucking capitalize off of it. But a shirt's a shirt, and, you know, Soundgarden have put out, you know, some good music in their career. This shirt depicting, of course, Bad Motorfinger, which is my second favorite of Soundgarden's albums after Super Unknown. Bad Motorfinger is still very good. I like the setup here, I like the colors here. Obviously, a Super Unknown shirt would have been much preferred, but this is still cool. And the last shirt I got at this mall pickup is not a band shirt. Rather, it is a shirt of none other than Bob Ross. Weirdly enough, when I was at the show with Valence and Geff, the band opening for them, which was called the Tom Dowd Group, their drummer was wearing this shirt. I asked him where he got it, and he's like, you know, Walmart, and I'm like, I must get this. And when I saw this in Spencer's, I was like, dude, this is fate. I need to get this now, because I can't resist this adorable fucking face and painting in space. Obviously, I'm not going to act like I was a fan of his show. I'm not going to act like I watched it all the time and whatnot, but obviously he's on this shirt because he's a meme, and it's a very meme-y shirt and whatnot, and I couldn't resist it. And that's why I love this shirt. It's goofy, but I love it. I mean, come on. And the last shirts that we got over here are all shirts that I got when I went to Warped Tour a few days ago as I'm recording this. So, the first of our Warped shirts is Neck Deep. Neck Deep are one of the biggest in the third wave of pop punk. If we look at pop punk in waves where, you know, the late 90s, early 2000s, that's the first wave, the mid to late 2000s is the second wave, and the 2010s to the present is the third wave. Neck Deep are one of the more popular bands in the third wave, and they were one of the first bands on this Warped bill, and they were cool to see, and this was the design I liked the best. Obviously, tie-dye is cool. We got their logo over here up in the middle, as well as The Peace and the Panic, which is the name of their upcoming album that's coming out in August, I want to say, and it says over here number 3 because it's their third album. But yeah, I like the colors on here. I think it's a cool design, the best design, obviously, of the shirts that Neck Deep had at their merch stand. I almost got the Bad Case shirt that I showed you previously. I almost got that signed, because when I was at Neck Deep's merch table, it was when they were doing a signing, and I almost got it signed, but they were finishing up while I was in the middle of purchasing this shirt, so I was a little late there, but would have been nice. Next shirt we got from Warped is Our Last Night. I really like this band. They have a really cool post-hardcore sound, slash metalcore, whatever you want to call them, but I really like them a lot. They're one of these bands that also specializes in making, you know, cover song videos on YouTube, so that's where they get a decent amount of recognition from, but I had already heard of the band long before I knew that that's what they did on YouTube, when a friend of mine showed me a song of theirs a few years back, and I'm like, yeah, I really like this. And I've been following Our Last Night ever since, occasionally watching their covers. Like, the most recent one I watched was of a compilation of Nicktoons theme songs. Of course, that's gonna tickle my nostalgia boner. A video I'm actually planning on making in the near future is about bands using cover songs to get their name out, and Our Last Night is a band I'm gonna be bringing up in that video, so that's something you can look forward to. This is the design that I like the best of Our Last Night's shirts. It sort of looks like a classic rock or indie rock album cover, and unlike most shirts at Warped, this one had tour dates on the back, and this has a number of tour dates on the back, basically chronicling, I guess, not only the Warped dates, but other shows that they were playing around the time, and I like that there are tour dates on the back. I like the design of the back, more so than the front. This isn't exactly really a part of my regular shirt rotation, but it's still nice. The next shirt that I got at Warped is Stick to Your Guns. Really great hardcore, metalcore act. They were really cool to see, and this was the design I liked the best there. It's kind of simplistic. It doesn't exactly feature their logo, but it features like a palm tree in water, like with the Chon shirt, as well as a snake coiling around the palm tree, and it says 2003, which is when they formed. They put out their first album in like 2007, and this is a really comfy shirt. It feels nice and stretches and whatnot. I like it a lot more than I was anticipating that I would, but I'm glad I got this one. And the final shirt that we're going to be talking about is the one that I happen to be wearing right now, my Beartooth shirt. I got a Beartooth shirt previously at Hot Topic a year or two ago. I like the design here a fuck ton better than that one. I like the colors, I like the font that they got going. It's not too plain looking or too edgy. Depicts Aggressive, their newest album from last year. And again, I really like the way that the font looks over there. And Beartooth was the band that closed out the night for me. The other bands that I saw at Warped, Neck Deep was the first. Then I caught a bit of Dance Gavin Dance's set, because it started raining and everybody was told to go to the amphitheater at the Xfinity Center, and Dance Gavin Dance were already in the middle of their set. After they finished their set, I went back outside because it was starting to clear up. The next band I saw was Silverstein, which is another one of my favorite bands ever, and they were a highlight of the day. I caught like half of Municipal Waste's set, then I went and saw Our Last Night, then Hands Like Houses, then Ailstorm, which I was very surprised to see them on the bill this year because they just stuck out like a sore thumb, but they were really fun. Then I caught half of Bein' As an Ocean's set, and then saw After the Burial, which was another highlight, as was Ailstorm. Then I saw Stick to Your Guns, then I Prevail, then I caught like the last bit of Sick of It All's set, then I did nothing for a little while, then I saw Anti-Flag's set, which obviously, you know, they're a very political band, but you know me, I don't like it when people, you know, go on these political rants. Even if it's like not too long, but they did it on like more than once during the set, which annoyed me a good bit, but you know, musically, you know, they were pretty tight. And then after their set was when I saw Beartooth and then headed home from there. So thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it a little bit, maybe. I don't know. I'm really hungry right now, so I would love to eat something about now, so that's what I'm going to do after turning this camera off. Thank you for watching. Again, take care and have a nice day. I'm Shades, and I'll see you next time.